Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, Illinois Arts Council Agency, and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello, welcome to Illinois Stories. I'm Mark McDonald in Quincy at the home of Jeff Moran, which today sort of doubles as a country western museum. I asked Jeff if he would bring out some of his collection of country western music and the people who sing and play country western music, who he knows personally. And he said, I can't bring it all out. I said, I can bring out about maybe 8% of it, 10% of it. I said, well, whatever you can fit in your living room, bring on out. And then we're going to tell some stories about how you know these folks. Jeff, it's fascinating. You've been following. You're sort of a groupie, I guess. You've been following country western musicians for many years. And tell me a little bit about what got your fancy with collecting this stuff.
With collecting it, my uncle Tony Smith, played on the Possum Holler Opry, and then they had a show called the Country Music Hall in Lake of the Ozarks, and he opened up playing the fiddle. The square dance, they got to sing a song, and then he played a fiddle again at the end of the show, and they square danced again. And then the female singer was Linda Cassidy, and I just loved her. And so between Linda Cassidy and my Uncle Tony, they were my inspirations.
Yeah. At what age then were you inspired?
I was probably 9, 9, 10.
Okay, so from the time you're 10, so for maybe 50 or 60 years now, you're collecting stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and going to Branson and going to Nashville and going to Lake of the Ozarks and going wherever there's country music.
Yep.
Why are you holding this blouse?
This one here belongs to Mary Lou Turner. And it was on her, not her current CD, but the one before, and it's just all sequins. And you'll see on the cover of her CD, she gave that to me.
She's a good friend of yours,
Oh
isn't
yeah,
she?
she's been here. We go to her house. She makes the best potato salad ever.
Is that right?
Oh my God.
Where does she live?
She lives up on, way on the mountain in Branson.
In Branson, so she's there year round, she performs there year round.
And she doesn't book a TV show until we can go see her. She calls us her bodyguards.
I want to show, this is one of her CDs, and this is the very blouse that you're holding to Jeff, my friend. And then inside, this is interesting because you're even credited as being the inspiration.
We kind of got her back into doing, inspired her to do it, and we got to pick out 6 songs on the CD.
You mean she took your advice as to what was going to be on the CD?
Yeah, well, she said, you know, you kind of inspired it. What songs would you like me to record? So we named 6.
Well, let me hold this while you point those out for us.
Okay. Make Friends, that's the song that she opens up with all the time. Tip of My Fingers by Bill Anderson, but Mary Lou does this very different than any other song or anybody else. After the Fire Is Gone, a duet that used to be Conway and Loretta's. Cry, that was her song, that first song she sang on the Grand Ole Opry in 1973. Love It Away was one of her singles, which I love. And then we did Old Habits Are Hard to Break.
So you chose those 6 songs. She chose the other 6.
Right.
She credited you with you. Okay. Now, what else you got here?
And then this one here is another top that Mary Lou wore. In fact, anybody that wants to see this, all they got to go is on YouTube, and Mary Lou does a Country Girl medley on the Boxcar Willie show, and she's actually wearing this top. And I kept it because anybody could see this to this day. And it's got the gold on it, trimmed with the gold in the front here. Yeah.
Now, let's see her picture here, because some folks may not be familiar with her. And you've been friends with her for how long?
Oh, I can't even remember. It's been, you know, when you know your friends, I would say probably 16, 17 years, maybe longer.
You're her bodyguard.
Yeah, well, they call me and my friend her bodyguard. Yeah, when we come in and she goes, they got their bodyguards. And it actually started with another country singer, and then they caught on. So, yeah.
And if you look over your right shoulder, or whether you see it over next to the refrigerator, there's several other shirts that are that say, you know, Mary Lou's Turner's fans, okay? And those are your shirts as well. Huh? And you were just on the phone with her, what, a couple of days ago?
Just talked to her yesterday. And I talked to Linda Cassidy yesterday, and I talked to my uncle yesterday, or the day before. We call each other on our birthdays. Genie and Mary Lou both. Every holiday I have to call them, and they call me. If I don't call, they call me. When we sing a happy birthday to Mary Lou, we sang it and everything. She goes, well, that's really good, but I don't think I'd go out and buy a bus yet. And I thought that was kind of funny.
Well, look, we're going to see more of your collection. We're going to see as much as we can see in 30 minutes. The next stop is going to be Genie C. Riley, who is one of your dear friends, right?
Right.
People might remember her, and I think it was from the 60s, but it may have been 1970 when she did Harper Valley.
1968.
68, okay.
Yep.
All right, and
July.
it was a huge hit.
Yeah, what the people hear on the record is actually the second take. They did the original one, and she said the day my mom told off the Harper Valley PTA, and at that time I believe it was Rowan Martin's Laugh-In was in, and they had to sock it to it. So they go, let's add that to it. Well, that brought the record up. It debuted, if I want to remember right, at 74, and it jumped like to the top 10 the next week. Pop charts, country charts. You could do the radio on every channel you do. Harper Valley was pretty much on it, yeah.
Well, Jeff, Harper Valley PTA was not only a big album, it was a big movie, wasn't it?
Yes, 1978.
Yeah, well, that much after the hit.
10 years.
It was 10 years after the hit. And she wasn't actually in the movie, she did the soundtrack. Huh?
Yeah, she did the soundtrack at the beginning of the movie and at the end of the movie.
Now, when did you become acquainted with her? How did you become friends?
Through a friend of mine, Jerry. I got introduced to her. We were in the fan club together. He actually drew my blue t-shirt, the first one I had of her. We got to meet her, and she's just like the girl next door. And it's one thing about her, it's kind of sad. When she did Harper Valley, they give her that image of, you know, the backbiting, finger pointing.
Yeah, bad girl.
Like, oh, and then when she did later on, like the MGM albums and had good ballads and stuff, they just didn't get the airplay like they should have, because people were expecting the mini skirt.
Yeah, they wanted the trollop from the country, right?
That kind of hurt her there, yeah.
We've got some pictures of here with her, with you. This is when the Adams County Fair,
1985,
okay. And so you were pals. It looks like she liked you pretty well.
Oh yeah, we got to go on her bus. We had our pictures taken. Then when we were in there, she sat down, and we all sat in the little lounge area, and she had a chair, you know, we were sitting there, and she goes, what songs do you like of mine? So we were just telling her and everything, and never thought a thing about it. Well, at that time they were doing 2 shows. So the second show, it was dark and she couldn't see us, and so she sang a couple songs, and she goes, now where's my friends Jeff and John at? And of course we yelled, well, you know, you really couldn't see them. She goes, well, I dedicate this second show to them, and she sang all of those songs that we had listed.
Is that right? That's why she asked you what your favorite songs were.
And then when this was taken was after the second show, when she was autographing, and we were in the arena, and they had a big gate, and she said, they asked her, Miss Riley, is there anything that you would like? And she goes, yeah, I would like to have you move the gate and have Jeff back here. So they had to move all of those people.
You were so flattered, weren't you?
Yes.
Would you reach around and get that wedding invitation? And I'm going to grab something here as well and bring that over here to us.
Okay.
So you got invited to her wedding.
Yeah,
right?
this was her wedding, her and Billy, and I have an invitation to that. We didn't get to go.
Does it say anything on the back?
No, there was a letter with it.
I see. Okay, and that's Billy, huh?
Billy,
so
right here.
Did she end up marrying Billy?
Yes.
Okay. Are
Yep,
they
they're
still
married.
together?
Yep, still together.
Really? Huh? Well, good for them. And then she also sent you this. This is a cute little gift. Begin each day with a ray of sunshine. Look inside at a special friend of mine, Genie C. Riley. And
it's got a mirror.
That's cute. What's your favorite song of hers?
Oh my, that's hard. That's like asking who. Favorite one on MGM, the second label, would have had to been Give Myself a Party.
Is this one?
This one right here.
This one here?
Give Myself a Party. That would be my favorite one on MGM. It's a toss-up because I like, of course, everybody loves Harper Valley. There never was a time we didn't love about a family that didn't have money, and then when the kids all grew up, they had money and they didn't care if they had an extra dime to spare. I also like her number one, Oh Singer. That's a real good one. So I guess I'd probably have to say those 3.
Is she still singing?
Oh yeah, well she sings kind of like like over the phone like to us when she calls me on her birthday.
Performing.
No, she's not performing.
She's in her 70s, I guess.
She was born in, she's going to kill me for saying this, 1945, yeah.
Yeah, 70, 75, 76. No, 70, 74.
October the 19th.
My math's bad, but 75 about. Okay, all right. Well, that's really, and you got a real nice shrine here to her.
And then this album here was her third album.
The one that's unfolded?
That folds out. She had the hit Things Go Better With Love. There Never Was a Time, the one I talked about. The Backside of Dallas, about a undesirable lady. But that was a hit too. The Rib. And then that folded out to a fold out, so I folded it out.
Did she ever reach #1 again after Harper Valley?
She on some of the independent charts, but Oh Singer was #1. And the funny thing is, she debuted them on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Wow.
Yeah. Rockin' Pneumonia and Boogie Woogie flew, and Here's to the Cowboys. Those got #1 on the independent charts.
Boy, she stayed busy. There's a lot of music there. Jeff, you described the singer Lynn Anderson as the woman that got you in trouble.
She got me in trouble. Not literally, but at home.
Well, right. We were telling the story a little bit earlier about how you got involved in country music and how you loved it because your uncle, played in bands and you would go to see him. But then shortly after that, television came along and you found the Lawrence Welk Show. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and the first country western female singer to sing with Lawrence Welk
was Lynn Anderson.
So how'd she get you in trouble?
Well, when Lynn Anderson had out Promises, Promises, I love that song. I just couldn't get enough of it. I'd never heard a fast up-tempo one, and her voice just caught me. So I would try to watch it every time she was on TV, and it'd come on Saturday night then, and we'd be eating supper, and it just seemed like my mom always had supper when the Lawrence Welk Show come on. So I would wait, and she was always on the last half of it, the last half hour. And if she started singing, I'd go, I got to get up, I got to go to the bathroom real quick. And I'd stay in the living room and watch her sing that song. And years later, I know Mom, Dad knew what I were doing.
Well, sure, you were sneaking out because you had a crush on Lynn Anderson.
And then on this album, too, also, she sings the Hank Williams, or Hank Snow song, I've Been Everywhere. And that's where she rattles off all the cities real fast. Well, I won, I think it was 47 years ago, second place in a talent contest singing that song. Yeah.
So you had a pretty quick tongue too, right?
Oh,
you could do it.
Reno, Chicago, Fargo,
What's the other album you got?
And then the other album is her 50th anniversary of Rose Garden.
Oh, and, Rose Garden. Everybody knows Rose Garden.
Yeah, Joe South. And then I actually have the original album, but the collector's album is in different color. It's in like a rose colored.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So I got that.
So that's the 50th anniversary of singing I Never Promised You a Rose Garden.
The album Rose Garden.
Okay. Yep. Nice. And do you know her? Do you know Lynn?
I really didn't know her per se like I did my other ones, but I was a follower, another roadie, and
you took this picture, didn't you? And this was it.
I took the little ones. The big one, I think, come from the fan club, which was actually the same show.
Yeah, and this was at Petersburg. At the Opry in Petersburg. Okay, so she was quite young then, and you were even younger.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
this was taken from 1968, the same year that Promises, Promises come out, and that was the cover of the magazine that I couldn't wait to get once a month. We'd get it usually on Saturday, and I would be the first person that would take that magazine and look who had it, And then when my parents passed away, I actually inherited that magazine, and I have the actual magazine, but that's just the cover of it.
Jeff, people who know country music will know the term Grand Ladies. The Grand Ladies were all stars.
Yes.
And they all performed solo, and they also performed together as a group. And they would rotate, and they would travel and together. And well, one of them, of course, was Leona Williams, and she was married to Merle Haggard
for a while.
And you got to be good friends with her. In fact, you tell an interesting story. She has a blue jacket on there in one of these pictures where she's holding the guitar, and you traveled with her and helped her out one weekend.
John and I took her to Gentry, Missouri, to a show, and we stayed at the motel at the bigger city, and I don't remember offhand, this had been not years ago, and she stayed with us, and so we took her to the little town that she performed in, and it was just a little town off the road, probably not even 100 maybe, And we drove around and around and around. We couldn't find the place. Well, when we finally found the venue, it was just like, kind of like the little country store in Coal Miner's Daughter. It was just a little one thing like that. And so I took her blue jacket, and then we had her guitar and all of her product, which CDs and stuff. And so we just happened to have black on, both of us, John and I. Never thought a thing about it. We walked up with that, and Leona was in the middle, and I heard two ladies go, "She brought her bodyguards."
You've been called bodyguard more than once.
Yes,
Now, she not only was a gifted singer, but when she and Merle were together, she was writing a lot of music for Merle.
She's a good number. Tammy Wynette, Connie Smith, Loretta Lynn, a lot of them have recorded her albums.
Leona Williams.
Or her songs. She wrote Someday When Things Are Good, I'm Gonna Leave You. You Take Me for Granted for Connie Smith, Dallas. She wrote for Loretta Lynn. They recorded some songs. In fact, her and Loretta used to perform together a long time ago.
Do you ever stay in touch with her at all?
Oh, yes, yeah. Every holiday we talk there and call them.
Is she still singing?
Oh, yes, yeah. In fact, next month we're going back to Branson to the Grand Ladies Show, and Leona and Mary Lou and Barbara Fairchild will be there.
Good, good. Now, Jeff, it's kind of ironic that your first music love, Lynn Anderson, was replaced on the Lawrence Welk Show by another female singer who also then turns out to be a friend of yours, right?
Yes,
And who is she?
Ava Barber.
Tell me about her.
She was one of the grand ladies down there for a few years, really comical. I loved her. She said things that you would remember because they were funny. And she had the big hit Bucket to the South. She had some other hits out too. But I took a picture of her, and she actually made this Afghan for me.
She made that?
Yeah, she made that for me.
Why? I mean, why did she make it an Afghan?
Well, we were real good friends, and whenever we go to see our real good friends, John and I always bring them gifts because, they're not out to, where they're on the road a lot. They don't get a lot, shop like you or I would.
Sure.
And so we brought her a bunch of stuff, and she said, I want to do something for you, but we didn't know what she was up to. So she asked us the scheme of our living room at the time, and I told her. And about 8 months later, we went down to, I called my mom and pop at Dick and Jana at Branson, and she was in their home, and Jana goes, I've got somebody in here that wants to see you, and she's got something for you. And I walked in, and Ava had that already made for me.
Is that right?
So that was very tickled, yeah. I don't really use that. I put that up so it doesn't get,
Do you know how many hours of work go into making one of those?
I would even hate to say.
Oh, my mother used to make them, and it would take months.
We would sit there, and she would be doing something as she's talking.
That's sweet. Jeannie C. Riley.
The Harper
This looks
Valley.
like a very up-close photograph.
She was like here.
She was like right in front of you?
That's when
You had to be on stage with her.
Oh, no, she went in the audience.
She came down in the audience.
Jeannie goes out, and she wants to be on the level with the audience. As long as that microphone is a chord, she'll go out there.
Yeah. Did you sing with her?
Oh, yeah, I sang Hey Good Looking with her. Yeah.
Well, who's got the better voice, you or Jeannie C?
Oh, it'd have to be Jeannie.
Yeah.
It'd have to be Jeannie, but she didn't care. We had fun. That was what it was all about.
You have a whole stack here of special edition and anniversary records. And I didn't know this, but when they do a special, they'll come out with a special color, and that's how you know that it's either greatest hits or an anniversary issue or something.
I've got green, purple, violet, blue, red, peppermint color.
I want to show this one because this is
current.
People will know this one. This is Loretta Lynn's current one, and it's the what's the occasion of this?
This is
one?
just like her newest album, and they wanted to do something special with it. And she redid some of her older hits with some of the more current stars. So these are a lot of remakes of her original one.
So when this whole stack that I have under my hand here, these are all special editions.
Yeah,
right?
they're all
or
anniversary or colored ones.
Yeah. And when you get these, what do you do with them?
I play them one time, and then I just put them, where I can see them, but I don't play them again.
But you do listen to it one time.
Yeah.
And then it stays in perfect condition ever since.
Yes,
okay. All right. Well, let's come on back here. Come on back here with me. Because you've got men in your life too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not just the lady singers.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of friends here.
The ladies really like me. So.
Tell me about your friends here.
This is my good friend Travis Dean. He sings in a diner, but he also has his own band and travels. He's a real good buddy of mine. He sings gospel and country, and I just love him to pieces.
Where does he live?
He lives in Kimberly City, but then works in Branson.
Kimberly City's just right outside of Branson.
Yeah, about west of Branson.
Yeah.
Then Jamie Hagee and Mike Patrick, they're from the Grand Jubilee. Jamie won Entertainer of the Year, I want to say 3 or 4 times. And then Mike Patrick runs the show. They're good friends of mine too. Jamie does a comedian. He dresses in orange all the time. And these are pictures of my friend Mary Lou at the rehearsal doing songs they do, the Bill Anderson, and them duets. And
are these in Branson as well?
yes, okay. They're all. And we get to go backstage. So the one of Mike and Mary Lou is backstage, and that's her husband, David Bird, to the left. That's looking off. He's another successful songwriter, a producer, played keyboards for George Jones, Donna Fargo, and Genie C. Riley, and more.
Here's you as a younger man.
Yes.
Back in your 30s, I guess.
When I went to Nashville, I've always dreamed of being a country singer. And so I had to act like I was a star, knocking on MCA, Monument, and CBS's the recording things. And so when I brought him back to Quincy and got him, I said, well, what happened? I said, I got turned down.
But there you are. You got evidence of the fact that you're knocking on the doors.
And that's the original Hall of Fame with my grandmother, who died at 105.
No kidding. And has it moved since then?
They have a new one, I understand. I don't really know exactly where it's at, but I have
in Nashville.
In
I
Nashville,
assume, right? Yeah. Do you ever get down that way?
I went down there. I was close to it. Went to Hurricane Mills, where Loretta Lynn lives. Not this past year because of the COVID, but the year before, Easter weekend. Got to go through her house, and
let's go over to where Loretta Lynn is.
Okay.
Because, like I say, I wish we had your entire collection, but your room's not big enough.
This is just like probably 1/8 of my collection.
And now, are you a big fan of hers?
Oh yes. Saw her the very first time in 1971. That's when she opened up with Coal Miner's Daughter. She closes with it now. These are all her new records here. This one was her first one, the Christmas.
You mean this one is the first one?
Yeah, those are the ones she redid, just recently here. And then I've taken pictures here. The first time I saw her in 71, when I seen her at Petersburg in 75, she had the pill out then. This one here was taken in 77 when she did the Patsy Cline salute, and this one was at Mount Pleasant, Iowa, when she had the song out, Lying, Cheating, Whiskey Chasing, that big song about her husband. And I've got my fan club badges, my first autograph by her, her very first record on Zero label on a keychain, I'm a Honky Tonk Girl.
Oh man, it is. Look at that little signature that she's able to put on, that autograph she's able to put on there. That's amazing. Well, Jeff, Jean Shepherd would be well known to country music fans. What are some of her big hits?
Satisfied Mind, Slipping Away, Dear John Letter, on and on and on.
You were good friends. In fact, there's one here of the two of you together. And she since passed away, didn't she?
Yeah, she passed away just a few years back. She was our buddy too.
Yeah, you really liked her for reasons that she was very candid, wasn't she? There was black and white. Was no gray. And she invited us to Nashville to stay at her home, said she would take us back to the Grand Ole Opry backstage, but then of course she passed away. So, but a lot of good memories of her. She called us her turkeys. I don't even want to know why. Jeff, thank you.
You're welcome.
You went to a lot of work to get your collection spread out for us, and we certainly appreciate you sharing it with the audience.
Thank you for having me.
And this collection is probably going to get bigger before it gets smaller, because Jeff is on his way to Branson to see the Grand Ladies again next month, and I'm sure he's not coming back empty-handed. With another Illinois Story in Quincy, I'm Mark McDonald. Thanks for watching.
Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Illinois Arts Council Agency, and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you.